Before we begin, I would like to clarify that this video is not intended to offend or question anyone's beliefs. We deeply respect everyone's faith and understand that this is a sensitive topic. What we will do today is analyze what history, archaeology, and ancient sources say about the figure of Jesus of Nazareth. Join me on this journey through Jerusalem and Jordan to discover what evidence exists about his life and legacy. And to start, I want to pose a question that has surely intrigued you at some point. Was the massacre of the Holy Innocents, that very dramatic episode in which King Herod, according to Christian tradition, ordered the killing of all the children of Bethlehem, real? Today we will explore this and many other fascinating questions about Jesus of Nazareth. Let's start with Jerusalem, the holy city par excellence, not only for Christianity, but also for Judaism and Islam. Here you will find the famous Wailing Wall, the last vestige of the Second Temple, destroyed in 70 AD by the Romans. What is fascinating about this wall is how it has survived centuries of wars, earthquakes, and political changes. How did it remain standing? Some see it as a miracle, while others believe its resilience is a symbol of the unwavering faith of the Jewish people. The Wailing Wall is not only a physical relic, but also a testimony to the context in which Jesus lived. During his lifetime, this wall would have been part of a monumental religious complex, the spiritual heart of Judaism. Here, Jesus probably visited and preached, interacting with the religious leaders of his time. Now, let us move to Jordan, on the other side of the Jordan River, a place that holds one of the most emblematic moments in the life of Jesus, his baptism by John the Baptist. This event, which marks the beginning of his ministry, is represented in the Gospels as a key moment. Archaeologists have found remains in this area that connect us directly to those times, confirming the antiquity and importance of these stories. These excavations in Jordan are tangible evidence that help us imagine what life was like in this region during the 1st century, a context in which one of the most influential figures in history emerged. If you are amazed by these discoveries and want to continue exploring the story of Jesus, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support is essential to continue unraveling these mysteries of the past. Also, leave us a comment with your theories or questions. We love to read what you think. Thank you. When we talk about Jesus, we immediately think of the Gospels, those texts that have been fundamental in shaping our vision of who he was. But have you ever wondered how the Gospels came about? The first thing we need to know is that, although Jesus spoke Aramaic, the Gospels were written in Greek. This may seem surprising, but it makes sense when we consider that Greek was the lingua franca of the Roman Empire at the time, especially in the eastern Mediterranean region. This fact is key, because it shows us how Jesus' message began to spread beyond his original setting, reaching the Greek and Roman communities. The Gospels we know today were attributed to 4 figures: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. But the curious thing is that the texts themselves do not specify who their authors were. The names we associate with these Gospels were assigned by Christian tradition centuries later. This tradition attempted to link the texts to the apostles or those close to them, granting them spiritual authority. However, recent scholarship suggests that these writings were composed by different Christian communities in different parts of the Roman Empire, reflecting the diverse theological and cultural perspectives of those early Christians. Apart from the Gospels, there are other sources that mention Jesus. Ancient historians such as Josephus and Tacitus make brief references to his existence. Josephus, a Jewish historian of the 1st century, mentions Jesus in his work Antiquities of the Jews, describing him as a wise man who was crucified by the Romans. Tacitus, a Roman historian, also mentions Christ and his execution under Pontius Pilate. Although these references are few, they are significant because they come from sources outside Christianity, which adds weight to the historical existence of Jesus. If this information is opening your eyes to new questions about the story of Jesus, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications because we will continue to unearth hidden truths of history. And remember, We'd love to hear your thoughts and questions in the comments. Your participation is key to continuing to explore together. One of the most influential figures in the expansion of Christianity is, without a doubt, Paul of Tarsus. The interesting thing about Paul is that, although he never met Jesus personally, he was the one who transformed Christianity from a local Jewish movement into a global religion. Before converting to Christianity, Paul, then called Saul, was a persecutor of Christians. However, after a vision on the road to Damascus, he became one of the most fervent defenders of the Christian faith. His main mission was to bring the message of Jesus to the Gentiles, that is, to non-Jews, traveling through much of the Roman Empire. Paul wrote many of the letters that make up the New Testament, and through his travels and teachings he established Christian communities in such major cities as Corinth, Ephesus, and Rome. Without Paul's tireless work, Christianity might have remained a small sect within Judaism. It was he who helped form the doctrinal and organizational structure of early Christianity, laying the groundwork for what would become one of the world's largest religions. But the history of Christianity would not be complete without mentioning Constantine, the Roman emperor who changed the course of history. In 313 BC, Constantine issued the Edict of Milan, which legalized Christianity throughout the Roman Empire. Before this, Christians were persecuted and often executed for their faith. Constantine not only put an end to these persecutions, but also supported the building of churches and called the Council of Nicaea, where many of the fundamental doctrines of Christianity were established. This was a crucial turning point, because from then on, Christianity went from being a marginal religion to becoming the official religion of the Roman Empire. We cannot talk about Jesus without mentioning his closest followers, the 12 apostles. These men were direct witnesses of his life and teachings, and after his death, they became primarily responsible for spreading his message. Tradition tells us that each of them brought the gospel to different parts of the world, and many of them suffered martyrdom for their faith. From Peter, who was crucified in Rome, to Thomas, who according to tradition traveled to India, the apostles played a crucial role in the expansion of Christianity. In Jerusalem, one of the most iconic places commemorating Jesus' passion is the Via Dolorosa. This is the path that, according to tradition, Jesus walked carrying his cross to Golgotha, the place of his crucifixion. Today, it is a place of pilgrimage for millions of Christians from around the world. The Via Dolorosa is not just an ancient street, but a route full of spiritual meaning, representing Jesus' sacrifice and suffering for humanity. Pilgrims who walk it do so as an act of devotion, reliving the last moments of Jesus' life. Finally, let us discuss an episode that has raised many questions over the centuries, the massacre of the Holy Innocents. According to the Gospel of Matthew, after the Magi visited Jesus, King Herod, fearing that the child might be a threat to his throne, ordered the execution of all children under the age of 2 in Bethlehem. This event, known as the Massacre of the Holy Innocents, is one of the most tragic stories associated with the birth of Jesus. However, outside the Gospels, there are no historical records to confirm this episode. Was the massacre real, or is it just a myth that has been passed down through the centuries? The answer to this question remains a mystery. What do you think about the life of Jesus? Was he a myth, a historical figure, or perhaps something in between? History and faith often intertwine, creating a rich and complex narrative that continues to fascinate us. If this video has given you something to think about, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Share this video with your friends so they can join in on the conversation too. And of course, leave your comments. We'd love to hear what you think. Thanks for joining us on this historic journey, and see you in the next video.